PTSD stands for post-traumatic stress disorder, and it is a mental health condition that happens after a person experiences a brief but extremely terrifying event. Many people think that PTSD is something that only affects military veterans or victims of assault, but PTSD can affect lots of other people as well. You can even get PTSD just from learning about a disastrous event. Sometimes people with PTSD do not seek treatment because they think it means they are weak, but that is not true at all. It's actually very easy and weak-minded to avoid dealing with serious issues like this. It takes more strength and more courage to admit you have a problem and stand up and do something about it. Here are some of the ways that PTSD affects someone. If these symptoms describe you or someone you know, check the description for links to get some help now. People with PTSD continually experience their trauma over and over through flashbacks, anxiety, nightmares, and other intrusive thoughts. People with PTSD will avoid people, places, situations, environments, and even objects that remind them of the event that caused their trauma. People with PTSD will avoid thinking or talking about the event that caused their trauma. They will do this in an effort to protect themselves from experiencing the barrage of negative thoughts and anxiety that they experience when they are reminded of the traumatic event. People with PTSD will begin to have more negative thoughts and negative moods. People with PTSD have negative thoughts about themselves and about the world around them. People with PTSD can feel hopeless about the future. People with PTSD can have memory problems, and they might not be able to remember important things about their traumatic event. People with PTSD have trouble maintaining close relationships with friends and family. People with PTSD feel detached and isolated from their family and friends. People with PTSD often are not interested anymore in things that they used to like. People with PTSD have trouble feeling positive emotions like love and joy. People with PTSD often just feel numb to all emotions. You might not be able to predict what will trigger someone with PTSD. It isn't always as obvious as you may think. For example, someone with PTSD may develop a very strong reaction to criticism and showing their true feelings. This may make them want to stop all social interactions in an effort to completely shield themselves from the outside world. People with PTSD can constantly be on guard and find it difficult to relax and to be calm. This is called hypervigilance. People with PTSD also can be very startled and upset by things that might not bother someone who doesn't have PTSD. This is known as hyperarousal. People who have PTSD can have extreme emotional pain and distress when they experience something that reminds them of the traumatic event that caused their PTSD. People with PTSD often have trouble sleeping because of all the trauma they continually suffer throughout the day. People who have PTSD are often constantly irritable. This irritability can also make them get angry and lash out at people. People with PTSD often have a lot of biological factors that make them more prone to developing PTSD than other people. Some of these include problems in the brain, specifically the hypothalamic pituitary adrenal axis. People with PTSD often have self-destructive behavior patterns. People with PTSD can feel a lot of guilt and shame for acting the way that they do. People who have PTSD have trouble concentrating on things. People with PTSD often have problems in their brain's endogenous opioid system, which is a part of the brain that has to do with controlling pain. People with PTSD sometimes have a family history of things like mood disorders or anxiety issues. This makes them more likely to develop PTSD over someone without these family histories. Certain types of trauma are more likely to cause PTSD than others. For example, someone who gets attacked or assaulted is more likely to suffer from PTSD than someone who goes through an earthquake. PTSD affects young children differently than it does adults. Children with PTSD don't show their distress and anxiety outward as much as adults do. When a young child has PTSD, they are more likely to use play and act out the things that are causing them distress. Children who go through very intense trauma are more likely to develop PTSD when they go through other trauma after they grow up. Learning effective coping techniques and having a strong support system can help children from developing PTSD as an adult. If you or someone that you know has experienced symptoms like this for more than 1 month, you should seek treatment. It's very important to get treatment as soon as possible because this can help stop the symptoms of PTSD from getting even worse. Now you can call or text the number 988 if you are in the United States to get help 24 hours a day from the Crisis Lifeline. You can also use the Lifeline chat online. Both of these are totally free and totally confidential. Check the description below for links to these and to get more information. If you have enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more human behavior and psychology videos. Then click here to watch this video for more psychology information, and I will see you in the next video.